Hello everyone, welcome to your weekly tech update, the show that explores the newest, coolest, and craziest side of tech available on the interwebs. I'm your tech enthusiast, Ray McNeil. Coming up on the program today, it's episode 200. That's right, 200 episodes now of your weekly tech update. That means 200 episodes of the coolest tech stories about space, about robotics, about the future of humanity, and about my favorite pastime, video games. Coming up on our 200th episode, we're going to showcase the pinnacle of home consoles with some of my favorite games that I'm playing right now on the PS5. That includes Riders Republic, an amazing game that's taken our favorite bits from Steep and SSX from back in the day and shoved it into a new game where you get to do everything from ride a mountain bike to a jet-powered wingsuit to jet-powered skis. It's a wild X Games ride that is beautiful and really pushes the PS5 to its absolute limits. Also on the program, we'll go over Guardians of the Galaxy, another game that just looks fantastic on the PS5, and it has one of the best soundtracks I have ever heard for a movie-ish based video game. We'll have a look back at some of the craziest stories we've featured on our What The segment over the past 200 episodes. And of course, we'll wrap up the program with this week's Moment of Joy. All that and a whole lot more coming up on today's edition of your weekly tech update next. Starting off the program today, we're hitting on one of the games that I have had the most fun with on the PS5. Not necessarily because it is the funnest game, but it's definitely one of the funnest games for myself. I've always been an X Games fan, partly because I can't do all the stuff that you see in the X Games, and it intrigues me. That's how I've always felt about playing games like Steep or SSX from back in the day. Even Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Now, Riders Republic is a convergence of pretty much all of those games. Okay, maybe not Tony Hawk. However, it would be fun if they put skateboards in the game at some point. However, they do have snowboards. They've got skis. They've got mountain bikes, wingsuits. And then they step it up a notch with some motorized vehicles. Then on the snow side of things, you get your hands on a snowmobile and a couple of different varieties of snowmobile and skis and snowboard as well. We'll go over that in a bit. Now, I'm going to start off by saying it does have a pretty big annoyance that, well, could turn a lot of people off, and I don't seem to have the ability to turn it off in game, at least from what I can see. But it's the commentator or the announcer in the game. They make it very much like an X Games type atmosphere in the game, and that means the announcers as well kind of sound like X Games announcers who seem to comment on various things throughout the game as you play. And it's very, 1990s surfer dude type of vibe when you hear him talk. You have your one set of clothes, and like other games in the current generation, unfortunately, there's microtransactions built in. So yes, you can earn a bit of cash along the way to change the way you look and change the way your vehicles look. But, well, it really takes quite a while to build up wealth in the game just by playing it. They really are kind of pushing you off to the side to use your real money to purchase in-game cash so you can buy, all of these crazy outfits that they have for sale in the game. That's not the way that I play games. When I purchase a game, I expect it to include the entire game and not just an overlay of the game, and then I have to purchase other things to get higher levels. Again, this is a minor annoyance, but it's one of those things that, I can work around. I just don't pay real money to buy credits, and I don't use all of the extra things in the game. It's not really a big deal to me. However, I still feel A little annoyed, a little gypped, knowing that there is more to the game that I'm not getting for my $60, $70, $80, or $90 investment at the time of purchase. Again, if a game's really good, I'm going to spend some extra money on it and I will buy the updates, but I'm not going to do it right away, and I'm definitely not going to do it in a Fortnite-ish fashion just to make my character look a little bit different. Not a big deal to me, and it's a great game with just the base purchase price, and I believe that's around that $60 mark for this one. Okay, so I guess there really are two annoyances in the game, but other than that, they did a pretty good job of making a great game. You start out, you have to purchase your first vehicle, I believe it's a mountain bike, and then you get to race a few mountain bike races. And you get a snowboard, and then eventually skis. And it's like any other SSX type game, other than the fact that, you know, they throw mountain bikes into the equation as well, which I absolutely love. I've always been a mountain bike geek myself. It's a lot of fun. It takes a lot of skill, but you get the hang of it as you go through and kind of develop that muscle memory for the game and the particular races. It's all done in an open world on predefined courses within that world. We'll talk about that a bit later, but as you continue through the game and collect more wins, you get more stars. That gives you more points. That pushes you along your path of progression. And like other games, as you go, more things open up. It starts off pretty standard. You have the standard type races where you get to race down a hill, go through the waypoints, and become first with the snowboard, for instance. Now, once you go through a few races, you get accustomed to riding your mountain bike around and your skis and your snowboard, and I implore you to just kind of take a break at that point. Ride around the open world that you're playing in. It's massive, and it's similar in size, it seems like, to the most recent GTA game, might be even a little bit bigger. There's one map and one open world where everybody seems to populate and play all at the same time. Some areas have a lot of snow with treacherous terrain, while other areas are more desert-like and are more accustomed to riding mountain bikes than really anything else. It gives you a broad game across a lot of different terrains to ride on, and amazing vehicles, awesome vehicles. I have always been an X Game fan, which I said, and I've always loved riding dirt bikes and mountain bikes, but this game is pretty dang cool. They give you a broad range of terrain to ride all of these awesome vehicles on, and as you go and open up what they call Shack Daddy events, well, these events are absolutely insane. I'm talking you would never try these things in real life, and it's exactly why I like playing video games, because I would love to do this crazy, outlandish stuff, but I really don't want to die doing it. And, well, if this was the real world, guaranteed somebody's face would hit a rock wall. When you start these Shack Daddy events, they start off pretty standard. I believe the first one just gave you a kind of standard bike. I believe it was like a pizza delivery bike, and had you go through this course collecting these checkpoints. Didn't have to do it in any order like a race, but you did have to do it as fast as possible. You collect them all and then get back to the last checkpoint and try to be the first person and win the match. It's pretty ordinary, but it's quite a lot of fun, and it kind of gives you a different way to pull off these races. In the next one, they give you a jet bicycle. Seriously, it's a bicycle, it's got jets on it, it seems to go infinitely fast as long as you have a long enough straightaway. It's a lot of fun. And they send you careening off the side of a mountain in a crazy, crazy race that, again, in real life would not fly. The next vehicle was kind of old grandpa bikes, I want to say. No, it was cross-country bikes that were loaded down. You could only do one trick. It was a leg off the pedal, and that was it, and you had to win the race in that vehicle. There was another one where you had to ski down a mountain wearing basically just planks of wood as skis. You kind of find some of these vehicles laying around in the open world as you're playing around, and then you actually get to play with them in the open world outside of these race events, not just in the Shack Daddy events. In addition to that, you have a big wheel bicycle that is an electric bicycle. It has these massive tires. It reminds me of a Fat Boy motorcycle from back in, I want to say, the late 80s, early 90s. I believe Yamaha made them. They were pretty cool, and they could do some things that a regular motorcycle couldn't do. It's basically the same thing, just an electric motorcycle. It's extremely fast in the game. You can go through the desert, you can go through the forest, or you can go through the snow-covered hills in this thing, and it's an absolute blast. This is one of those games that I absolutely love and hope that in the future they will put out new updates with different vehicles. How cool would it be to see dirt bikes in this, or like I said before, skateboards? It would be awesome. And it's one of these games that really pushes the PS5 to its absolute limits. It is one of the coolest looking games on the block, and you can tell that there's some glitchiness that happens as you're riding around in these races with many, many people. The PS5 can barely keep up, and that means this game is using all the tricks in the book to give you this amazing world to ride around in. So if you've dreamed of snowboarding, skiing, snowmobiling, or riding an electric snow bike, a jet-powered bicycle, jet-powered skis, or a jet-powered wingsuit through this terrain without having the, possible side effect of, terminal death, I would highly suggest you pick up Riders Republic because it is well worth the cost of admission. Again, I don't think you need to spend all the money to get all the little extras, but you're probably going to have to buy like the year one pass to actually get the jet bike and the electric snow bike to play around with in the main game. It's just a guess because I haven't come across them yet. If you love extreme sports and you loved the old school steep or SSX type snowboarding games, you are gonna love Riders Republic. I suggest you check it out. It's available right now for the PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and of course PC.